Baby squirrel use a sexy motherfucker.
Turn that bad boy off.
Nothing like a good awkward intro to get things started. Welcome everyone. It's been a while since I've recorded, I know. Shut the fuck up. Life's been a little busy for your little nerd boy here. But we are back with another 10 chapters. I had to read this. I had to take time out of my day to read this. I hope you fucking like, comment, subscribe. But without further ado, let's keep going. Chapter 22. Chapter 22 is called The Immortal Pirate and starts off with a sentence that is so relatable to my current mindset and sanity that it's almost like it's a comedy sketch. Ivy starts to question the whole reason why they traveled 100 miles. Ivy starts to fuck me, man! Ivy starts to question the whole reason as to why they traveled hundreds of miles to some obscure location only for someone to tell them absolute shit about the plot, and this is just my mood right now. What is on the screen right now, this is just my mood. I have never related to a character more than I have ever in this fucking story than I have in my life. Seeing as though they're all out of ideas, Tira then offers her own, and I don't know if this was a mistake or if I'm finally suffering from my psychosis. Look, I get it. Writing a book is hard, but checking your work twice isn't. Anyways, Tira comes up with the idea of sailing to the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and dropping Soul Edge into it. Siegfried was hesitant and tells the crew to come up with some better ideas before tomorrow, and if they don't, they'll just go with Tira's plan instead. I have no idea why they want to do this. I understand that this works in JoJo, where they drop Anubis into the fucking sea, or Anubis gets fucking flung into the fucking sea and he'll erode. But why did we go through all of that shit just for the answer to be, just drop it in the ocean, Lamau? I did not suffer through 22 chapters of this bullshit just for that to be the answer. It's not a fanfic made by Alex without useless exposition. Again, all he does is explain how Cervantes came across Soul Edge. And honestly, I'm just mentally checked out at this point when I was starting reading it. We are barely a chapter in, and I'm like, why? But that's the end of that chapter. Wow, it's getting bad, my PTSD is coming back! Chapter 23 is called No Regrets, and honestly, I was surprised he didn't misspell it, and it had it say, no regrets instead. That would have been so much more funnier and so much more fitting for the time. The gang buys a ship and its crew, and uses it to sail to the middle of the ocean. So it seems like they didn't come up with a better fucking idea. Fucking end me. They sail off, and within a day they encounter a storm. Wow, what a comically timed storm. How did the crew they hire not see this coming? Oh yeah, they also get raided by pirates. Did they just hire the Amazon basics of ship crews or some shit like that? Anyways, as it turns out, the pirates that were raiding them turns out to be Cervantes' crew. Wow! Who could have seen that coming with a bunch of useless exposition before this chapter? Who could have seen that coming? The gang fights Cervantes, so you know what that means. Useless fight scenes. They fight Cervantes and get their ass handed to them, all except for Ivy. Wow, holy shit, that was so generic and I could have saw that coming from a mile away. Wow. So she confronts him and asks if he really is her father. He says yes, and then asks him who his mother was. Or who her mother was, sorry. He doesn't directly answer after asking him about how they loved each other, and he just drops the rape bomb out of fucking nowhere. I had to clean my glasses for this part because I was baffled at how out of place and out of nowhere this came out of. I get Cervantes is an evil ghost pirate or whatever the fuck, but holy shit. Anyways, Ivy fights Cervantes, gets her ass beat just a little, and then beats him. His body was then thrown into the ocean, and that's the end of this chapter. I am mentally checked out at this point. I want you guys to know this. I have an 8-hour job. When I read this, I was like, I'm just mentally checked out. Chapter 24 is called Visions of the Ends and starts with the rest of the gang regaining consciousness from the last fight they had with Cervantes. Ivy then tells Siegfried she killed Cervantes and destroyed the soul edge he wielded, which Doesn't make any sense, but I guess the plot armor is bigger than her fucking tits. She then asks Siegfried if she's garbage. I shit you not. This isn't something any woman should ever ask Alex, and I pity the fool who does. Anyways, Alex then reassures her that she's not garbage with this diarrhea of a sentence that is #too deep for me. They wake up the others and then tell them that Cervantes is dead. Siegfried, in his alpha male Sigma mindset, does this out of nowhere. I swear to God, this is the most anime main character looking into the sunset with his hands out while holding a hot babe scene ever. It is just so fucking generic. He stands on the edge of the boat with his hands out holding soul embrace, like the fucking sword, while he is about to throw it into the ocean, contemplating about the journey that he had and how he made the right decisions, like having a sex slave wanting to fuck someone's wife before they broke up, or fucking every woman that came into his vicinity and treating like a piece of fuckable meat. And then he drops the blade. And then it cuts to Saza Lamel, who uses a magic bubble to get the other soul embrace, the other one that Cervantes has lost, from the bottom of the fucking ocean. God, I hate this fanfiction. It just cuts from one scene to another in a fucking push transition, and I fucking hate it. Anyway, Salad Fingers has the sword, is really happy, attempts to open a hell portal called the Abyss. Wow, super original name. Whoa, wow. And then gets controlled by it because he was too weak. I hate this. Whoops! I was lying! That was literally all a Xenoblade Chronicle-esque type vision that Siegfried had. It never happened. As it turns out, the journey isn't over yet. Oh my god, I hate my life. And that's the end of that chapter. I got nothing. Like, I seriously got nothing. At this point, I might as well record all of my insults and play them back on a cassette tape. Chapter 25. Chapter 25 is called A Soldier of Heretics. Just one soldier, though. That's all you need. Chapter 25 starts off with some useless exposition about a cultic religion known as the Call of the Executioner. What does this have to do with the main story? I genuinely don't know. Like, I'm not kidding. It is just filler. You can skip this part. After that, we get more exposition with a man who apparently created the golem who slapped Ivy's ass in a fight in the previous chapter. I'll give you a cookie if you remember what fucking chapter that was. After that, we get a long exposition dump between Astaroth and a man about Siegfried and how Astaroth needs to kill Siegfried or else he would be killed. Like, it doesn't make any sense, and it's just unnecessary. But that was chapter 25. Wow. That's all I have to say. Fucking Owen Wilson wow effect going on over here. Chapter 26. Chapter 26 is called The Return of the Brother. And before we continue, there was a small little notice on the chapter in the very top. Apparently, Alex borrowed an original concept from someone by the name of Biohazard 101. Wow. Seems like even back then, he couldn't come up with his own ideas. Anyways, the chapter starts off with Ivy trying to get Sophia's attention because she's depressed about her husband cheating on her after she cheated on him, or, well, technically before, but you know what I mean, and her having sex with Siegfried after they split up. Honestly, this scene, as short as it is, was okay for the most part. It built up Sophia as a character with a well-written issue and emotions rather than just being a piece of meat. And for that, I applaud. I give you the golf clap. I give you the golf clap, Alex. But then it gets immediately rectified because Sophia wants to fuck Siegfried. So yeah, I'll be taking that point back. Thank you very much. The gang then reaches a temple? It wasn't really established what temple it was or what the name of it was, so that's all you get. That's all I get, too. They decide to split up and search for clues, so Sophia and Siegfried are together. It's so weird to me that Tira was kinda thrown to the side of the story. Like, we haven't heard anything major about her for a while. It kind of sucks because you kind of get used to Tira being like, oh hi, I'm generic anime girl number 14, and then just she doesn't appear anymore. Like he's just done with her. Anyway, Sophithia begins loosening her clothing to make it easier to remove in a hurry. That was a direct quote from the fanfiction. You can quote me on that! Oh boy, you know what this means. Then we smash cut to a new character called Cassandra walking in on them having sex. These characters just come out of nowhere. They just come out of the fucking void. I have no idea who this character is. Maybe I'm just stupid and I forgot who she was. But after finding them having the horizontal tango, Cassandra then says this. Man, Alex knows how to write them women, am I right? After that, Cassandra gives Sophithia a scolding and is possibly the only reasonable person in this fanfiction, for now, believe me, it changes later, and tells her about what happened to Rothion the night before she left. Apparently he got mugged by a couple of kids, but what really happened was he was pursued by someone. Who was he pursued by? I don't fucking know, man. Use your imagination for this one, because he didn't really give me a lot to go off of. Anyways, he talks to a character called Lucius, a character who is apparently his brother-in-law, and he helps tend to Rothion's wounds and helps him come up with a story to cover up what happened, i.e. him getting mugged by a kid's story. Cassandra explains to Sophithia that she came to look for her and help her explore the ruins too, which isn't a good life because she will probably be a part of Alex's harem. Oh my god. The story's just making me fucking die. They get attacked by a clay golem, and that's the end of that chapter. I'm gonna cry. Like, I'm just... You can get through this. You can get through this. Chapter 27. Chapter 27 is called Born from the Void, and starts off with a gang being confronted by a gay golem. Being confronted by a clay golem. They fight the golem, Sophithia does an unnecessary flip, and they beat it by, get this, stabbing it in the chest. Expert writing skills. After they defeat the mistake that was Alex's writing, Cassandra wants to tag along, but Sophithia is like, nah, you ain't getting my man meat. God damn, dude. I'm losing my sanity and just people, like, you know, this is what I do for a living. Sometimes I'm really thankful I have a job, because now I could just be like, oh yeah, no, YouTube's just a hobby. But then Siegfried was like, whoa, more pussy, don't mind if I do, just join our fucking death-defying journey. Come on, lady. Cassandra joins them. I wonder what's going to happen. Yeah, they have sex. I don't know, man. It's very predictable at this point. Or at least they were going to. Ha! I fucking got you, didn't I? But Siegfried stopped her by some fucking miracle in the universe and says that this is wrong. Yeah, this. A lady who literally wants to have sex with you. This is wrong. Not the sex slave. No. Not the touching of an unconscious lady's body. No. That's not bad. This is bad, though. This is bad. She legit met him a few days ago. Not even a few days, maybe even like one day. And was already like, my pussy wanted you since the first day I saw you, Siegfried. What kind of writing is this? Anyways, chapter 28. Chapter 28 is called Neglected Pet and starts off with useless exposition. Like, it's a lot. And it's just Alex explaining the Ming Empire being invaded by Japanese pirates. You can just skip this part. You really do not have to read it. He also talks a bit about Killick, but he isn't around for too long because he gets defeated and is pretty much dead. But then Xinghua, the girl he liked in the previous chapter, takes him to a dude called the Edge Master to tend his wounds. I can't believe he actually called somebody the Edge Master and actually thinks that's cool. Alright, cool. She then joins the army of China, and that is it for this paragraph of them. Wow. They head to a place in the east called Silk Road and eventually enters Ming, a dynasty empire. They head into a mansion and try to sleep, but to no avail. Tira decides to solid snake the mansion and literally smelled Soul Edge and Soul Calibur in a room. I don't know how she knows what they smell like. I don't know what they smell like either. Anyway, she finds the room and tries to take a book from the room to show Siegfried, and she's all like, I can't wait to show Master, and then doesn't take it to him because everything is legit nailed down and chained to the walls and floor. She has a mental breakdown because now she won't be able to get any sick dick, so yeah, she just sits down and cries. What a woman. What a fucking well-written woman. She couldn't get any dick, so she just started crying. What a fucking Alex. Ahead of his time. Or behind of his time, you know. But then somebody enters the room and surprises Tira despite her saying that she was flawless and silent. Turns out the alarm was triggered 13 times. I am not kidding. Oh my god, this is good writing. Then we meet the Chinese woman. I ain't kidding, that's her name. That's how she's presented. Not Oriental, just Chinese. Tira is angry and tries to fight her, and the Chinese woman is like, oh no, don't fight me. Ah! And that's the end of that chapter. Miserable. That's just how I feel, ladies and gentlemen. Chapter 29 is called Water Dance, which is by far one of the most stereotypical shit I have ever heard in this piece of story about a Chinese character. Like, you might as well call this chapter, I don't know, fucking Bucktooth and Rice Hat, Alex. Anyways, as it turns out, the Chinese woman from the previous chapter is actually Xianghua. Her and Tira are fighting when Xianghua pulls a Batman v Superman and says Kilix's name, which prompted Tira to go, wait, how did you know that name? And they stop fighting. Tira then escapes from a window. It's so confusing, it's astonishing that he was able to make an interaction so fucking bad. Anyways, we smash cut to Siegfried and the rest being followed by people. I don't know why, I guess it's because Alex said so. They request an audience with the general of the army Xianghua was a part of, and instead were greeted with a youthful female voice. That better mean she's above 18, Alex, I'm just saying. They're then greeted by who I presume is Xianghua. We don't know yet, he hasn't introduced it, but I know it's Xianghua because I read the story. She tells them about the break-ins that happened, i.e. Tira, and then they proceed to talk inside. Her and Siegfried talk. She recognizes him, but not quite, and asks him if he knows about the Azure Knight. Siegfried says yes, they keep talking, and it turns out that she's Xianghua. So this is when we get introduced to her actually. It's so weird because we know about this character, but this is the first time we've actually technically get introduced to her 20-something chapters in. I get he wanted to keep it vague and mysterious, but it was just so annoying. He asks for her name and she says that she's Xianghua, which immediately recognizes her as Kilix's lover and says his name. She then stupidly says, how do you know that name? He doesn't answer and instead asks about the intruder from last night. Yeah, that's definitely not going to cause any problems. Xianghua makes some parallel to the intruder, and Siegfried both know, because they both know who fucking Kilix is, or was, and then draws her sword. She knows that he was the Azure Knight and wants to fight. Not really, that was a joke, ha ha ha. The real general then shows up and they talk about ways to purify the sword, and the general tells them to head to Japan. You know, the warring country that's at war with China. Yeah. Go to that place. Go to that place. Definitely no problems will happen because you're the main character. No problems gonna happen. And that's the end of the paragraph, so we smash cut to Siegfried and the others returning to an inn. He feels Tira's presence and tells her to come in. Tira asks if he's mad at her. He says no, and then they get into some very deep conversation and self-journey. Like, holy fuck, this is kind of deep, but in a good way. So, point to you, Alex. I'm giving you the golf clap. Like, it was a very good self journey for Tira. It wasn't too awkward and it wasn't too long. It was just right, so I'm glad chapter 29 ended on a somewhat high note. Though, I thought they were gonna finger bang. Honestly, honest to fucking God. As soon as I got to that part, I was like, they're gonna fuck and finger bang or some shit like that. But they didn't. So I was glad about that. And now the final chapter. Holy shit, I've been recording for 30 minutes. Chapter 30. Chapter 30 is called Sail Over Storm, and it starts off with the backstory of a character called Maxi, another character from Soul Calibur. Anyways, we get the backstory to him that ultimately leads to nothing important. Then we cut to Siegfried and the others. Out of fucking nowhere, my brain went, what? I don't know, man. At this point, I was just done. I was just mentally checked out. Siegfried and the others try to find the captain who is willing to take them to Japan during the war. They abandoned the search in China and just went to India to find a better opportunity. They casually strolled from China to India in less than a sentence, by the way. I just want to point that out. Sovithia and her sister find a sea captain. The sea captain happens to be Maxi. They talk to Maxi, who is having a midlife crisis because he wants to kill Astaroth for killing his crew, and when they told him that they killed Astaroth, he pretty much cursed them out because he wanted to kill Astaroth with his bare hands so he can avenge his brothers. Enraged, he grabs his nunchucks and started fighting the ladies, which means more useless, terribly detailed fight scenes. After what seems like years of fighting Maxi, Ivy then comes in and defeats him almost effortlessly and knocks him out. After coming to, Siegfried then tells Maxi they need a sea captain who is willing to go to Japan. Maxi, still enraged, wanted to fight the girls again, but Siegfried said, no, stop it. And he stopped and even apologized. Just, wow, what kind of a Sigma male is Siegfried? After he apologized, they set sail for Japan and they part ways with Maxi because it's Alex's harem, he can't have guys in it. And that's the end of the chapter. Honestly, reading it was terrible, rereading it was even worse. I felt like I was reading nails on a chalkboard, which I don't know how that was possible, but here we are. Also, there was a little author note from Alex here. Apparently, it took him 1 year to write 30 chapters of this drivel. And apparently, he was super proud of it. God, I feel sorry for him. But that's it for the video! I did it! Oh my fucking god! Holy shit, I can't believe I'm actually pumping out another video of this garbage. But yeah, that's it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Thank you so much for like the feedback and the support on the previous videos. Those have garnered so much fucking views. Thank you so much. I am so sorry this series takes a while to come out. I have to record. I have to actually read 10 chapters of this fucking bullshit. Plus I have work, an internship, and sometimes I'm just lazy, and also I bought a Nintendo Switch, which may or may not have halted my work effort. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Do not read this dribble. Do yourself a favor. I know I've seen some people in the comment section who are like, oh man, I'm so glad I didn't read this. Good. Go do something actually good with your life. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys real simple. Till then, don't be a stranger. Bye!